So we're going to break down Illinois going to Michigan. Michigan is 17.5-point favorite. Games at noon Eastern. Before we do that, though, I want to make a quick housekeeping note, rather. A lot of you tagged us in that Michigan hype video, and that was really cool to see. Like, that was exciting. It was fun for us. It's fun to see y'all interact with it. And we obviously, like I said, think that's cool. We enjoy that. But I want to make sure I note this. Anytime something positive with this show happens on a larger scale, it's, yes, like a positive thing here, but it's a testament to our audience, to what y'all are doing. Because it's great we get included in the hype video, but nobody's picking out our clips from a segment we do if it doesn't have some views behind it or some viewership. People in the creative department are seeing, oh, okay, people like this show. Let's go ahead and pick that segment out and put it there. So all I'm trying to say is that's great, obviously, for people over here on this side of the screen, but it's a program win. We use the phrase a lot in the football world, we, us, ours. Team win, getting the hype video. So all around, good work. Back to the prediction. Illinois goes to Michigan. Michigan is 17.5-point favorite, noon Eastern kick. Jim Harbaugh described it as a happy mission as far as Michigan's just pursuit to charge on towards that game against Ohio State, which they play next week. Can they handle business first against an Illinois team that's limping a little bit? She came up with a loss against Purdue. Physically are not at full strength. Chase Brown, we'll see what his status is as we get closer to the game. At the time of us being live right now, we don't have anything definitive about his status. But for them, it's an opportunity to revive some legitimacy. Because Illinois, for a while there, had an outside shot if they win the Big Ten with only one loss, and they could maybe have a clear path to the college football playoff if they handle their business. Well, that's not the case anymore. But I promise you, if they could knock Michigan out of contention the week before Ohio State, that would do a lot for them when it comes to the offseason. Like, that would be something you can hang your hat on if you're a senior within that program. So Illinois, still a lot to play for. And they're going to give their best shot to Michigan, as Michigan is accustomed to getting. My question in terms of some of these hinge points, does Michigan go yard in the pass game? Like, we've talked about it a little bit on this program in the past, but Michigan runs the ball so effectively, and as a Michigan fan, you're happy about that. You never turn down a great win and a win where you can impose your will running the football, but and I know there may be a point, especially in that game against Ohio State, where you have to open it up. J.J. McCarthy's got a great arm. The potential of what he could be is why you have him at quarterback, and he's shown a lot of great things and really confirmed why he is the quarterback, but you still want to see that arm talent flash. And so in a game like this, Illinois is going to be the best secondary you've played against. Devin Witherspoon, a guy that's going to be in the NFL here pretty soon. I mean, he is a legitimate NFL defensive back. And Illinois is going to say, all right, let's line up in man coverage. We'll play physical with you. We got pretty good size. Our smallest DB is like 5'11", so we're all around 6 foot plus. Like, let's line it up and play ball. They're going to challenge Michigan in that regard. Going to leave them on an island, let them play. Can Michigan connect on those deep passes? Because if they can, well, guess what? Then you have to commit more resources to the back end, which are resources you're not committing to that stacked box. And Blake Corum was asked about it last week. Our team's trying to do stuff different to y'all in the run game. He's like, yeah, absolutely. 100% we're getting stacked boxes. We're getting more safeties rolled down. Well, if you start getting hit for some 50-yard plus pass plays, you can't afford to roll that safety down. You got to have my guy back playing center field, making sure Ronnie Bell isn't running past him. And so what it comes down to is they have to win those one-on-one matchups on the outside. I look to Cornelius Johnson as one of those guys that I think could be the X factor in this game in terms of those deep passes. They've tried to get him the ball on a couple of them, been really, really close. I think this is the week where they connect on it. I also think this is the week where they dial it up a little bit more because you know who you play next. And if you walk into that game against Ohio State, having never really hit on the deep pass that recently, there's a little bit more hesitation to pull the trigger deep, or at least there's a little bit of hesitation, at least in the game plan, to go deep in that kind of scenario. The point I'm making is you want to have done it before you get to Ohio State. So I would expect a higher frequency and a fair amount of dial-up from the Michigan offense in a game like this. Now, if they connect on those deep passes, that means more points. That means more pressure on Illinois to answer scores and to keep pace. And an Illinois offense that's scoring right around 24 points a game, you know where this is going. That's a number that will be difficult to match in terms of what Michigan puts out there and what Illinois tries to do offensively. So I won't go too much more into that, but that's kind of something I'm looking at in terms of Michigan's pass game. Because I look at this second hinge point, and Illinois, from a formula standpoint, in terms of how much they run the football and pass the football, it's going to come down to, can they out-Michigan? Can they beat the Wolverines at their own game? It's a tall task, but they're both running the ball right around 60%, both throwing the football right around 40%. Chase Brown being healthy is something we will monitor very, very closely as this game gets closer. Chase Brown, one of the best running backs in all of college football, got hurt at the end of the Purdue game last week. Bret Bielema got asked about him this week, or earlier this week rather, and just said, I don't have an update. I'm not going to give an update. That would be huge to have him in the game. Right now, as a program, Illinois is averaging 186 yards rushing. They're giving up less than 88. So they're going to try and play that tough brand of football. And it really does come down to the run game. Because Tommy DeVito has been solid. Heisman Trophy candidate? No. But he gets the ball to guys like Isaiah Williams, and they make plays. I mean, when they have to, they've made plays. They will still need to make plays in this game. It's going to be important for them to be able to convert on 3rd and 7 and to be able to keep the Michigan defense a little off balance if they can. But it really does come down to the run game. You hope you have Chase Brown. If you don't, maybe it's McCray if he can be healthy enough for this game. Maybe it's Reggie Love. But this backfield will be how you stay in the game. In one, because that's just who you are. And two, it allows you to slow the tempo down. And Michigan's offense is a force. You would like them to be on the field as least amount of time as possible. Like, that's just the nature of what you want this game to go like for Illinois. I don't think they have enough from a firepower standpoint throwing the football to totally just change styles. So I think it is a matter of, can you out-Michigan in Ann Arbor? It's a tall task, but that's what I think would have to happen for Illinois to end up winning this game. So here's the most important thing for me. Many have tried, many have failed. How does Illinois respond to that second half squeeze from Michigan? I equate it a lot to whenever you put a heavy weight on your back. It's like when you play Michigan. Put that weight on your back, and at first you're like, okay, yeah, this is heavy. I don't enjoy this. This isn't fun, but I can kind of hold up to this. 1 quarter goes by. 2 quarters go by. After the first half, teams just look very different than they did in that first half against Michigan. Some of it's Michigan adjusting well. I think a lot of it is the physicality just wears down. Blake Corum coming downhill on you at power. That's not fun to try and defend for 30-plus minutes of play. That wears you down. A lot of teams, like I said, have looked solid against Michigan in the first half. Penn State, it was a 2-point game, 16-14. Michigan ran away with that one. Last week, Nebraska kind of gave a solid fight. They weren't getting gashed too much. I believe the longest run in the first half for Michigan was like 17 yards. Score was 17-3. Michigan just continued to apply that pressure. The defense gave them nothing. Run game kept rolling. Covered a 30-point spread. That's the reality for teams that play Michigan. In the last 5 games, in the second half alone, Michigan has outscored their opponents 117 to, wait for it, 3. Illinois is going to have to be able to, 1, produce points in the second half, but 2, be able to withstand the pressure applied from the defensive trenches, but even more so, in my opinion, the run game from Michigan. That wears on you. And they just keep chipping away at that rock, and eventually it cracks. That's what Michigan's been able to do. So my prediction in this game, I just think Michigan is going to continue to use that formula of bully ball. I do think actually they hit on some deep passes this week. I think it's too important for them going into the Ohio State game to connect on at least 1 or 2 of those. So they dial it up. I think they do get home. I think it works. I think Michigan wins this game. I think they cover the spread. Final score, Michigan 31, Illinois 13. So Michigan rolls at home. It sets up the matchup of all matchups, the game, with Michigan coming in undefeated. We're going to break down Ohio State's game this coming Thursday on the live show, but I think Michigan wins this game. I think they win relatively comfortably. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.